World War II ended, Germany lost. The aftermath was devastating, leaving the country in a state of utter destruction. The country and the city of Berlin were in ruins. Buildings lay in heaps of rubble and the streets were unrecognizable. But that was not the end of the story. Amidst the devastation, Berliners began the arduous task of rebuilding their lives and their city. Berlin, once the capital of a unified Germany, was now divided, just like sectors, each controlled by a different Allied power. The eastern part was controlled by the Soviet Union. This area would become known as East Berlin. The western part was controlled by the area would become known as West Berlin. Imagine a city split in two, a physical representation of the ideological Iron Curtain descending across Europe. The Berlin Wall became the most potent symbol of this division. This was the reality for Berliners. Families and friends were separated, and daily life was marked by the presence of the wall. Life in post-war Berlin was difficult. Food was scarce, jobs were limited. East and West Berlin grew deeper. Checkpoints like Checkpoint Charlie became infamous symbols of the Cold War. The Soviets wanted all of Berlin under their control, but the Western Allies were determined to protect the freedom of West Berlin. This led to a tense standoff. The city was a flashpoint for the ideological battle between communism and democracy. It was a dangerous standoff between two superpowers with very different visions for the future. The leaders of the Soviet Union and the United States were locked in a high-stakes game of geopolitical chess. The Soviets wanted to spread communism, while the Western Allies wanted to contain it and promote democracy. This ideological clash played out in the streets of Berlin. Berlin became a focal point of this struggle, a city on the front line of the Cold War. The wall stood as a stark reminder of the division and the ongoing conflict between East and West. Tensions were high in Berlin. The city was a focal point of the Cold War, a symbol of the ideological struggle between the East and the West. The Soviets, wanting to force the Western Allies out, decided to cut off all land access to West Berlin. This was a strategic move to assert dominance and control over the entire city. This meant no food, no coal, no medicine, no supplies could reach the people of West Berlin by road or rail. The blockade was a severe measure designed to cripple the city's ability to function. It was a desperate attempt to starve the city into submission. The people of West Berlin faced the grim reality of dwindling resources and increasing hardship. Imagine a city of over 2 million people suddenly cut off from the outside world. The sense of isolation and vulnerability was palpable. That was the reality in June 1948 when the Berlin blockade began. The city was thrust into a crisis that would test the resolve of its inhabitants and the Western Allies. Shops quickly ran out of essential goods. The scarcity of food and other necessities led to long lines and growing desperation among the people. Hospitals struggled to care for the sick. The lack of medical supplies and the increasing number of patients made the situation dire. The health crisis was exacerbated by the blockade. Something had to be done, and quickly, to save the people of West Berlin. The Western Allies convened emergency meetings to devise a plan. The Western Allies faced a difficult choice: abandon West Berlin or find a way to supply it. The stakes were incredibly high, and the decision would have far-reaching consequences. Giving in to Soviet pressure would be a blow to the West's credibility and leave the people of West Berlin at the mercy of the Soviets. It would signal a significant defeat in the Cold War. The Allies chose a daring and unprecedented solution. They would supply West Berlin by air. This decision marked the beginning of one of the most remarkable logistical operations in history. This operation, which became known as the Berlin Airlift, was a massive undertaking. It required meticulous planning and coordination to ensure the continuous flow of supplies. It required thousands of flights carrying everything from food and medicine to coal and machinery. The airlift was a lifeline for the people of West Berlin, providing them with the essentials they needed to survive. It was a testament to the commitment of the Western Allies to the people of West Berlin and their determination to resist Soviet aggression. The Berlin airlift not only sustained the city, but also became a powerful symbol of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. The airlift also fostered a sense of solidarity and gratitude among the Berliners. Children eagerly awaited the arrival of planes, often receiving candy and small gifts from the pilots, who became known as the Candy Bombers. After nearly a year, the blockade was lifted in May 1949. The success of the Berlin airlift was a significant victory for the Western Allies and a testament to the resilience of the Berliners. The city began to recover, and the airlift remained a powerful reminder of the strength and unity that can overcome even the most daunting challenges. The Berlin airlift stands as a defining moment in the history of the Cold War, showcasing the power of determination and cooperation.